I'm Marie,
I'm Phil.
and we've been fostering for 15 years. And how many children do you think we have?
40, 50 children, I would say we've looked after at that
Yeah,
time.
long term and short term. I think, like we've said before, that we've done so many jobs in our lives, but the one thing that we've been really good at is being parents, and we just thought we would, extend it to lots of other children.
I think the rewards are that you see children develop in your care, and that they're thriving and healthy. And when they leave your care, they're in a better place than they were when they come in. I think that's the most rewarding thing about it.
Yeah, our family adapted to fostering really well because our children were quite young when we started fostering. They were 1 and 3 years old, which is quite unusual. But they've really enjoyed it. They've had lots of fun over the years, and it's helped them appreciate what they've got because they've seen that a lot of other children don't have what they have. So it has been positive for them.
It's hectic. Our lives are quite hectic. You've got to be organised. You've got to manage your time really well. And you've got to make sure the kids have got what they need. But it's fun.
Yeah, it hasn't impacted our life negatively at all, actually. If anything, it's been a positive impact. No.
Definitely.
We would recommend fostering for Plymouth. Yeah.
Yeah, we think it's really important that lots of other people sort of jump in and become foster carers. We've talked quite a lot about it, and we
Yeah.
think some people decide not to become foster carers. They're almost there, but they won't quite make that leap. And we just think it's quite important that more people just make that final leap, and go through the application process.
I would say think of the children. Don't. It is going to have an impact on your life, but it's not going to be negative. You get lots of support along the way. So if you are worried about anything, if you need any help, it's all there for you. But think about the children that you're going to be helping, and that should do it.
And also, don't be afraid to ask the questions that you're worried about during the application process. If there's a reason why you're not going to apply and ask the questions, that are relevant to you while you're worried about, becoming the foster carer, the negatives and the positives. Get the answers that you need, and then take it from there.
You can give Plymouth City Council a ring. They are set up to take any questions. There are plenty of foster carers that are willing to help as well. We're always willing to help new foster carers or prospective foster carers,
Yeah.
give them an insight. We foster for Plymouth rather than independent because we didn't really look at it as a job or employment to start with. And I know it is effectively a job, but it didn't even enter our heads to go with a private agency, to be honest. We just went with Plymouth City Council because we knew that there are lots of children that needed our help.
And I think because we were doing it for 15 years, obviously as time went on, we've always been happy working with Plymouth City Council, doing fostering. So there's never been a reason to change it as the years have gone on.
Yeah, the support Plymouth offers is brilliant.
It's been okay. The training and support, being a foster carer, you've got certain things you've got to do every year. You've got a certain amount of courses you've got to fulfil every year. You manage the time. If you can't do them in the daytime, they've got some set up for evenings, so they can work it around you. It's again, you've got to manage your time, but it's important that you get it done, and we've always managed to do it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Even with our house full of kids.
And the courses aren't, it's nothing to be worried about or scared of. It's not like you've got to sit an exam or anything. It's just information for you when you're on these courses.
Negative misconceptions about fostering. Yeah, I think we've spoken to quite a lot of people while we've been fostering that have thought about fostering. And there are some negative misconceptions. Some maybe being, I'm single, am I allowed to be a foster carer? I live in a certain area, am I allowed to be a foster carer? I only earn this amount of money. Am I allowed to be a foster carer? I don't know, someone in my family's got a criminal record. Am I allowed to be a foster carer? So I think these reasons that people believe they cannot become foster carers stop them making the final jump into it. So yeah, there's a bit of myth busting to do there a lot of the time.
And I think also a lot of people hear horror stories of children wrecking their houses and violence, but I can honestly say in 15 years we haven't come across anything like that, and if it were to happen, the support would be there for you. Just do it, just make that phone call.
If someone's worried about making the first call initially to become a foster carer, I think if they just make the call, there's no obligation that they have to become one or have to go through with the process. It's almost just a fact-finding mission first.
Yeah.
And if you are interested, then you should go forward with it. And if you end up not wanting to do it, then at least you've sort of found that out for yourself. We think we became foster carers at the time we did. I think we saw an advert in the paper, but we had spoken about it before anyway. Our kids were really young. We certainly couldn't have done it before we had our own children. We wouldn't have thought that would have been the right time. And we think we become foster carers at the right time for us.
Yeah.
It had to be a joint decision.
No, being single doesn't mean you're not able to be a foster carer. As long as you've got a good support network, you're absolutely fine. Your sexuality doesn't have an impact on your ability to foster. Society is so diverse these days. Makes no difference.
I think the financial support that Plymouth City Council offers will be enough, regardless of what your employment is, whether you have employment, whether you have full-time, part-time, or you're not employed. Obviously, it depends on age of the kids that you look after, where they go to school, what contacts they have with birth parents, how often. That will impact on when you can work. But of course that depends on whether you're a single carer, whether there's two of you. But it makes no difference. You will be able to financially support yourself and the child with the help of Plymouth City Council.
And over the years I've had various part-time work. If we've had school-age children, I've worked in schools. When we've looked after preschool-age children, I've given up my job because I love fostering the little ones, and then gone back into it. You can kind of dip in and out as well.
It's a little bit like, even with your own children, you sort it out. You just sort it. You have to do it. You just have to sort it out. And that's we had 1 year where we had 6 kids at 6 different schools.
Yeah.
And we managed to sort that out. It was hectic, but it was okay.
Yeah.
You just manage. You just do it.
You can foster regardless of your faith. I think the only requirement of you is that you respect the faith of the child you're looking after.
I think if you become a foster carer, you can still have pets. It's not a problem. I mean, we have a cat. We've had a cat for 10 years of our fostering lives, and I think our cat sort of had to have a behaviour check,
Risk assessment.
risk assessment on the old cat, which went all right. But obviously, if you've got a certain type of dog, they would probably they would bring an expert in to check that the dog's okay with kids. But it doesn't impact at all. I mean, you're probably not allowed to have a tiger or something like that, but apart from that, it should be right.
Having birth children doesn't mean you're unable to foster. If anything, I think it enriches the fostering experience for the children that you're looking after.
I've just like to add to that, if I can, if our children have seen all sorts of behaviours, and it's never really had a negative impact on them. They've all gone through school. We've never had any issues with our own kids. And if anything, their sort of behaviour has had a positive impact on the children that we've looked after.
Yeah. You don't need experience of looking after children because if you were to have your own child, you learn as you go. And like we've said in the past, there's plenty of support for you anyway, and there are lots of other foster carers that are more than happy to help, give advice.
When we first had our first child we looked after, when she was a teenager, she was effectively our first teenage child because she
Yeah.
got there before our own children. So she was our first teenager. So we were learning with her. So our first experience of a teenager was with a foster child. So we probably are look after teenagers better now because of the experience we had with her.
And you make mistakes, but it doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. As a foster carer, you have a really good support network. You have your own social worker that will visit you, I think, every 6 weeks. And they are there for whatever you need. If you need them before that 6 weeks, just give them a ring, email them, they'll pop out and see you, help with whatever they can. If you have a difficult child, you may be allocated a support worker as well that will take that child out for you once a week just to give you a bit of help. There's plenty of support there.
If you're interested in fostering for Plymouth, contact us today.